Greetings, duelists, and welcome back to the Underground. This is episode 15, and we did it. We overthrew the North American WCQ. For those who don't know, that is the second largest event that we had left in the year, right before the World Championships. The only event after this one is the European World Championship qualifiers. And if you look at this chart, Maliss, was the most represented deck in Top Cut, and not only that, Maliss made it to top 4. There are no Regials in top 4 in the North American WCQ. What happened? Like, if you look at this event, you're thinking that it's post-Duelist Advanced format. We only had one major event with Duelist Advanced being legal, which was the Euros Oceanic WCQ, and that one was won by Regial Heraldic Beasts. So, the fact that you only see 3 other Regial variants, and to be fair, Regial Mitsurugi making it to be the second highest represented deck kind of tracks, but let's be honest, this many Maliss just doesn't make sense in a format where there's so much Maliss hate running around, especially when the Regial Protoss deck has a huge advantage over it. So, what happened? How did we get here? So, I have a couple lists. This is by Sean Pittman. You probably know him from the dueling DB Grinder videos. This is at the second place from Aditya. And this is the first place list from Julian Khan. By the way, Julian Khan won the World's Playoffs. So for him to make it through the World's Playoffs and also top 4 is a really, really big deal. Now, let's look at this list. If you look at everything here, and if you look at Aditya's list as well, I already did the math. They have over 20 non-engine cards in their Maliss deck. That's a lot. We're talking anti-Snake Eye territory. If you're familiar with Snake Eye's format last year, right before Maliss came out, you know that literally right before crossover breakers, Snake Eyes, despite being the best deck in the format, got shifted and bullied out of the way just because there were so many decks, they were playing so many hand traps just to stop the deck. We're seeing something very, very similar. Basically, a lot of Maliss players just focused on using a lot of their non-engine to make sure their opponent doesn't play the game or does not get to alternate win conditions and just win with the Maliss cards. There is an up and downside to this. The downside is you're risking yourself losing more consistency. Maliss is not a really consistent deck. This is not like Fiendsmith, like the Fiendsmith hand trap deck last year, or like the Magical Musketeer deck, or like Memento or Mermills. This deck actually doesn't have that many one-card starters. So, in order for them to take this approach, you kind of have to hope that everything goes right. Like, you are already playing bricks in your deck, like for example the GWC, which funnily enough, both Julian and Aditya did main deck. If you're not playing GWC 06 in your main deck, you're behind. That's what the kids would say these days. But yeah, that's one thing to take note of. The other thing to take note of is after Regial doing just super well, you know how telegraphed this deck is. Maliss plays Mistaken Arrest in the side deck. That is a staple side deck card in all Maliss lists. That card really, really hurts Regial. And it really hurts a lot of decks. Like, Maliss is pretty much one of the only combo decks out there that really doesn't lose to Mistaken Arrest. So that is another really big deal. So, now that we talked about Maliss's position, let's talk about the finals and let's talk about the World Championship qualifier, like the World Points playoffs. We have a feature match with Julian Khan and we have another one with Aditya. And you're probably thinking, well, if Julian Khan made it to top 4 as well as the top cut playoffs, the guy played clean, right? He didn't make any misplays. He played the deck perfectly. Like, he had no things that are holding him back. Well, I kind of want to talk about these duels because the results and the outcomes and the options that we're seeing in these duels are probably not how you think. So, we'll start with Julian first. Let's see if we can speed this up a little bit. So, Julian's hand is Cat, March Hare, Rabbit, Terraforming, and Triple Thrust. That is a really, really good hand. Sadly, this is one of those hands that kind of falls to Lancia. But thankfully, Clifton did not open Lancia. Clifton's hand was double Ash Blossom, Imperm, Bonfire, and Mitsurugi Prayers, which is another really good hand as well. They both open really good hands. Clifton's hand is not as good because he has a dead Ash Blossom. Julian's cards are alive. Yeah, let's play it out. Let's see what happens. So Julian starts with Terraforming, that immediately gets contested with Ash. This was the best play Julian could make because now, since this Ash contested with Terraforming, Julian can normal summon Chessy-Cat and he doesn't have to fear Ash Blossom. That being said, Clifton immediately fires the Imperm, and you're probably thinking, well, Clifton is out of defensive cards by activating this Imperm. Well, if you play against Maliss long enough, you probably already know you don't want Chessy-Cat to resolve. If Chessy-Cat resolves, the game's pretty much over. Like, it's a lot of card advantage that you're getting out of it. So Julian taking advantage of that, they activate the March Hare for Rabbit. So let's pause here real quick. There is a world where instead of using March for Rabbit, you could have linked away Chessy-Cat into Lingeribo and use March for the Chessy-Cat and just keep going from there. Clifton already wasted 2 hand traps, and you have Thrust encasing Nibiru's. Dormouse is still not in rotation, and White Rabbit is still not in rotation. By using March Hare early, you kind of have to think about what is your backup plan if you get Nibiru'd. So that is something to think about. Not saying this play is incorrect, I just say there are other options you can contemplate, and sometimes these options could be a very, very big deal depending on what else you do. So the White Rabbit resolves, the White Rabbit is going to set, no responses here. They set GWC, again, the best option. They grab all those 3 for ransom. I also agree with this play. Okay, so he adds Underground. I don't like this. I don't like that he added Underground. Think about it for a second. He has GWC, and he still has Thrust in his hand. What is the point of the Underground if you're going to flip GWC? You kind of want more defensive cards because Clifton is already down 2 cards, and you don't know if he has another non-engine. Let's say worst case scenario, like he actually Nibiru's and you didn't have the Underground to play around it, you still have Triple Tactic Thrust to just add another extender and just keep going from there. And like, he already wasted Ash Blossom, so that's no longer a threat. And Clifton being down 3 cards is a really, really big deal for you. probably would have added Malice in the Mirror if I was in this position. So I added, so you activate 06, 06 to for White Rabbit. You go to Red Ramson, and he adds the Chessy Cat. The Marcher. He adds Marcher. I don't like this play either. If we were going to do the play that he's thinking of doing, you have to think about it this way. Chessy Cat has not been summoned. Dormouse has not been summoned. From the banish, I mean. And you still have Underground. So, there's literally nothing to be afraid of. Like, if his analogy for Grand Marcher just to play around Nibiru, you already played around Nibiru by summoning Marcher to begin with. And you still have Thrust in your hand. Like, I would have banished Dormouse and put him on Have the Nibiru. Dormouse is also really important here because if he wants to go for backup, the backup play, he now has to exhaust another resource that he really doesn't have to exhaust. So, and think about it this way. You can just banish Dormouse, summon Dormouse, and if Clifton doesn't nib, you can Dormouse for March here, and you're in the exact same position, but with a Dormouse already on board. So I didn't like that play. He links those two into Wicked, and this goes to what I was telling you. Now Julian is just exhausting extra resources. That Dormouse should have been already on board with Ramson. And in case you ask, well, what happens if they Nibiru the Dormouse? Well, you still have Underground for Chessy Cat. Like, and you still have Thrust for, like, Cold Sark. So, like, there was really no fear, like, in Clifton's play. So, he now banishes Marcher for backup. The Marcher that he already used by banishing with Ramson. He summons White Binder for Chessy Cat. I think at this point it's kind of obvious that Clifton doesn't have Nibiru. He's gonna banish Dormouse as well. He's banishing Ash from the Clifton graveyard to make sure he doesn't get Protossed, which is another heads-up play. So Binder for GWC, good heads-up play there. So what will he do now? So before the next play, I already know what Julian's about to do. What I would do in this scenario is I would summon backup. I would summon backup and add Wizard as soon as possible. If like, cause that way you would 100% not lose to Nib, no matter what. And I probably would have grabbed those 3 names for Heart Scripter. And that way you have all your Malice names into rotation. Let's see what Julian does. He's contemplating on backup. He summons SP Little Knight. I also don't like this. Like, he's basically banking on his next draw to telegraph whatever plays he does next. SP Binder is fine as a board. It's not bad as a board. SP makes it so if they start with a Ryziel, you can just like clutch their like resources, and you still have Thrust to set like stuff like Barrier. We already saw Julian's list. He does play Dimensional Barrier. We know this, and not only do we know that, we know that it cannot get ashed. So he already has ways to stop Ryziel. So unless he's going to keep this SP Binder on board, there's really no reason to do this play. And by doing this play, that means he loses out on backup. Yeah, there is Cold Sark, that is the draw from the Binder. And this goes back to what I said about Malice in the Mirror. By banishing Malice in the Mirror with Underground, you just were way more ahead in card economy than if you do Gold Sark. Whatever you're banishing with this mirror, that's a dead card. That Chessy Cat has already been summoned. And he's grabbing another March Hare. And all of a sudden, he has 2 March Hares in hand. And none of them can be activated this turn. Julian has already used both March Hare effects. And the backup is dead because this is not a Cybers from the extra deck. So this goes back to me not liking the SP play. He's showing Clifton the 3 cards in his hand. Thrust is the only unknowns card. Which is another thing you have to think about. Like just bluffing cards that is not in player's knowledge is kind of important in this matchup as well. So Julia realizes this. He realizes that this play is not the best. He has redundant cards in his hand. He wants more resources against Clifton. And he still has the thrust. So he's gonna summon the backup. He's clarifying with the judge that Firewalls is a Cybers from the extra. Yep. So Wizard, dump the March Hare. The March Hare he added for no reason with the mirror. Like, again, this is him just wasting resources. They went to Wizard effect, Wizard to bring back the White Rabbit, and this all makes her Cryptor. Now they're going to Thrust, and the Thrust is going to set Dimensional Barrier. So Clifton's turn. Clifton immediately draws Meowls, which might be helpful, but like, I think the ready's on the wall. Prayers, I think they did both these cards on draw phase. So main phase, Habakiri. Habakiri to Saji. We grab the Mitsurugi Prayer, the Mitsurugi Ritual. Ritual spell. Clifton is just trying to push through Julian's like cards with like the Mitsurugi cards. So Murakumo 1-2, Cryptor 3, Murakumo 4, Firewall Chainlink 5, I'm pretty sure. Firewall Chainlink 5. So this is another misplay. Before this chain resolves, what happened in this chain? There was something wrong with these players' line of play. Can you guess what that was? I'll tell you. Once this chain resolves, you'll figure it out. So, they're resolving backwards, Firewall resolves, Crypto resolves, banishing the Murakumo, and the board is now gone. Murakumo tried to negate Heart's Cryptor. Heart's Cryptor was co-linked to Firewall Dragon. So Clifton made a misplay by trying to contest to this to the Cryptor. What he should have done is waited until the chain actually resolves and put Julian on activate Firewall Dragon so it can be negated with Murakumo. So that was Clifton's mistake. Something really important to remember here. They activate Bonfire. And we don't have to see the rest of this match. Julian's just going to like checkmate him with the Dimensional Barrier. We already know the set is GWC. Well, let's go to the next match. Well, right before the next match, I just kind of want to talk about Julian. Like, Julian got out of this game like safe, but he could have been a lot safer with his resource economy. So that's the takeaway from this game. Yeah, let's go to Aditya. So this is game 3. This is Aditya versus Wilfredo, and you will see that in this match there are a few shaky things happening as well. Aditya starts by setting 1. normal Chelsea Cat resolves, draws 2. They'll activate White Rabbit resolves. So all of a sudden, Aditya is in a good spot. So, something really important to talk about. If we look at Aditya's list and Julian's list, and we look at Chomp Pittman's list as well, none of them played Lizardos. And you're probably thinking, well, not playing Lizardos is correct in this deck, because you're going to play with your Cyber's cards. I think not playing Lizardos is a really big mistake in Aditya's list, and I'll say why. The reason why is because Aditya is in 5 Bestials. Let's look at the scenario right here. This is the second summon, right? If you play Lizardos, that's summon number 3. You banish all the Malisses, that's summon number 4. You don't have to worry about Imperm at this point. You're already set with White Rabbit. You make Red Ransom. And if they try to do something to the Red Ransom, you just change GWC. And if they ever try to Nibiru you there, you're safe. You're safe because of any of your Bestials. You're safe because of whatever you get grabbed with Red Ransom. You're safe because of the trap cards that you set. And I think it's kind of obvious. This set is probably MTP07. So, by not playing Lizardos in your list, and you're playing a lot of Bestials, it's just kind of awkward whatever play you want to do next. Because if Splash Mage gets impermed, yes, you have the Bestial. But let's say you actually summon Splash Mage, all of a sudden your Bestials are dead. If you have any. You can make the argument that the Bestials are good to hold for Wilfredo's turn, just because he is on Bestial Fiendsmith Orchest. So, but yes, this is just talking about the really big difference of not playing Lizardos in your list. Just something to keep in mind if you're rebuilding Maliss, or just contemplating on playing Maliss after this event. Alright, so they summon Wicked, they try to Bestial, and this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, by summoning Splash Rage, the Bestials are dead, so this is pretty much like the safe option. Now, they're going to do Wicked, Bestial, they're going to banish the White Rabbit, they're going to add the backup, they're going to summon here the Chelsea Cat. So, we already know Aditya has 06 set. High chances are 07 is set. If you look at this board and you look at the game state, Aditya pretty much is relying on backup as his backup, no pun intended, to if he gets Nibiru. I don't like that, because we already know Wilfredo is on multiple Bestials. We saw that from the first 2 games. So, Wilfredo is going to nib. The only real reason to nib here is if you have a way to stop the backup play. And you'll see very soon that will indeed be the case. Nibiru gets summoned, token gets summoned, and then on a new chain, Wilfredo activates Boldrake. This is a really big Boldrake. This Boldrake is a blowout. Because we already know the set is GWC, and we already know Aditya has like the backup. Like and they already normal summoned the Chelsea Cat, and they already went through 2 names. Like, the only way Aditya can come back from this is if he has underground. Like, if he has underground and or like March Hare for backup. Another note. You'll notice how Wilfredo is going to target Aditya's Boldrake. So Baldrick gets banished for Baldrick. The reason he banished the Baldrick is because if Aditya does have March here, Wilfredo loses out on the Baldrick being summoned, so he doesn't have a way to start the backup, and Aditya has an extra monster. So really good heads up play from Wilfredo to just banish the Bestial and not the Malice name. So now Aditya is on checkmate. Like this Link Spider is just about to get contested by Baldrick. He sets one more and passes. This is why Laser Dose is really important in this deck. And this is why it's very, very important to think about whether or not the line for Wicked matters more than the line for Ransom. Like, if you already know you have GWC 6 or set as well as 7, I think going for Red Ramson before Wicked is the better play. But that didn't happen. So Wilfredo plays. I think he starts with, yeah, Engraver for Tract. Tract resolves. So we know that Aditya does not have neither Droll nor Ash. Maybe he does have Ash. Lurid Trigger. We know Aditya is not like in a graveyard trap card. They summon that. We're summoning World Crown. That card is gonna play a very important role in this match. They activate the Requiem into Engraver. That already telegraphs Wilfredo has Lacrima in hand. Engraver to summon back. So, ignoring the fact that Aditya could have Imperm, what is stopping Wilfredo from summoning Caesar? We know he has GWC 6 set, and we know that he doesn't have another play, like, at least on Wilfredo's turn, that is crucial. Like, honestly, summoning the DDD monster is just perfect here. Unless you want to go for game. By the way, this is very close to game. He summons Sequence. Sequence is a really good play here also, because if the Sequence forces Aditya's back row, if the Sequence resolves, it's over for Aditya. Like 100% over. Like, Desiree is just way too much pressure. So he imperms the Sequence, which is the right move. He normal summons Lacrima, which explains the second Engraver summon. Those two into Amnon Day. And we know Aditya has GWC, but this is game. Like, basically Aditya has to waste all of his resources if he doesn't want to die next turn. And worst case scenario, Wilfredo will smack him for at least 36 damage, 41. And remember, Malice is a deck that is very resource intensive. There are no Link Malices in Aditya's graveyard in rotation, so the GWC 06 is not going to give him life points back. That being said, Aditya adds D7. And like I said, like, it was very high odds that Aditya had 7 set, because I think 7 over 6 would have been a priority if we were going to do the move Aditya did, like, this turn. And now thinking about it, what stopped Aditya from flipping 07 to banish the cat when he got Nibiru'd? I just thought about that. That technically is another misplay. Because now thinking about it, Aditya could have flipped 7 to banish that at the marsh, and after the Link Spider got Baldricked, he could have summoned the hair, make Lingeribo, and then someone back up for Wizard, and that was full Maliss combo. So yeah, Aditya kind of threw that last turn, now thinking about it, since we saw that he had 07. So that is another misplay from Aditya. So, contemplating on the March here, he pretty much has to do it. Like, that is damage on board if he allows Wilfredo to enter battle phase. So he summons both Malices in attack. The reason they summon it in attack position and not defense is because they can give piercing damage to whoever's equipped to it. And all the Malice monsters have 300 defense, so it's pretty much just damage economy, which is very important. And he's going to flip 06. He has to. He attacks, so now DT is at 38, which is enough life points. Wilfredo makes sequence. The reason he makes sequence is because he has Lacrima in graveyard. So at any point in Aditya's turn, he can Lacrima for Unknown Day, and Unknown Day back into the Fiendsmith monster. I don't think Wilfredo is on Paradise, at least not in this game, because that is another interruption that he has against Aditya. So, what interruptions does Wilfredo have? Not counting the Paradise. He has the World Crown, and he has the Bestial. So Wilfredo is pretty much putting Aditya in having to play around those two cards. Wilfredo has a lot of Fiendsmiths in rotation, and Aditya already wasted a Baldrake. So this turn is the last turn of the game. This is the turn that actually decides the match. Whoever wins this turn will win the North American GWC. So he summons Dormouse. Dormouse for Cat. Cat gets summoned. Cat effect. Cat for March. And there's the Lingering Bow, and this goes back to the Marshall play that I talked about for in turn 1. Like, this would have been his way to play through the Nibiru. Now, everything Aditya could have done last turn, he's doing it this turn. Yep, he pitched the second backup. He tried, Wilfredo tries to use Necroquip. Backup does not discard for cost, so that play is null and void. He activates Wizard. Wizard from Dormouse. Another really big misplay. Okay, he used both Malices for Splash Mage. This is a big deal. This is a really, really big deal. Aditya has no Malices on board. And if this Splash Mage gets stopped, he cannot get to the Malice Queens unless he does very, very, very specific plays. He already wasted Wicked, so he can, and we already know he's not on Lizardos, and he's already Cyberslocked because of Wizard. So yeah, this is another misplay. Wilfredo knows this, so he's going to banish the Splash Mage. So now he has to demerge here, which is something he didn't have to rely on if he didn't, like, if he kept a Malice name. So I'm looking at this board. I'm looking at Wilfredo's cards. This is what I would do if I was on Aditya's position. There are two options here. Option 1, make Cryptor. with 3 of the 4 names on board. Link away the Cryptor into access code. Access code gains attack. Wilfredo has the Nibiru. If he doesn't, he loses. Wilfredo most likely won't have a second Nibiru. And use the access code to pop their World Crown. World Crown has a secret effect, for those who don't know. And that secret effect cannot be bothered if they summon access code. Another play is you summon the Cryptor, and with the Cryptor you banish the World Crown. Cryptor cannot be negated if she's pointed. If she's pointing to something. So I would have grabbed Linguribo, I would have grabbed the Dormouse and another name and summon the Couch Cryptor in the second extra monster zone underneath where backup is, and then use the Cryptor to banish the World Crown. And Cryptor cannot be negated, so World Crown cannot stop the Cryptor. Another play is the access code play that I mentioned earlier, but that plays hard into Nibiru. Aditya just puts himself in a very strong position here because he linked away the Maliss in the first play for Splash Mage. So yeah, he pretty much wasted a lot of resources there. So he summons White Binder and he activates White Binder's effect. Remember World Crown? This card negates a monster with 2,000 or more attack that was summoned from the extra deck, and it destroys it. Aditya already used March here. He is Cyber's locked. Both traps are in his graveyard. This is checkmate. Aditya immediately now loses to the World Crown. Yeah, Aditya is grabbing the World Crown, he's reading it, and yeah, that's the game. This game is over. Doesn't matter what happens after this. Splash Mage has already been used. Wicked has already been used. Unless he randomly has Underground in hand, it's pretty much checkmate. And we don't have to see the rest of this match. If you already saw this game, you already know what's gonna happen. Wilfredo became our North American WCQ champion. Very small upset by Aditya. A couple of misplays. Julian got away with his misplays because he had triple tactic thrust. Aditya cannot get away with his misplay because the non-engine he has left in his hand is not enough to stop the Fiendsmith grind, mid to late game. And yeah, that is the conclusion of how Maliss almost won the North American WCQ. Will that mistake happen in the European one? Will Maliss be able to win the last major event before Worlds? Will Maliss be able to win our World Championships? We already know what's happening in Master Duel. We don't need to talk about that. But yeah, this is the closest upset that we've gotten in a major event with Maliss so far. And I hope you found this video informative to your liking and understanding. I really like Maliss, you already know. It's my favorite deck of the format out of the top tier decks. The deck has a lot of hate. If you look at the Gem Knight list, he has Protoss. If you look at the top 8 from the Onomat Razio deck from their new match, he also has Protoss. This top 16 player also have Protoss. The hate for Maliss was real. But the non-engine kind of gets you there. Yeah, enough rambling. Keep practicing and keep dueling.